Hallo Leute, ich bin Katja und ihr seht Deutsch für euch. Today will be loads of fun for you and a lot of feeling like a naughty little kid for me. Today you're learning how to swear like a German. One of the first things I get asked in a conversation with people from other countries is, can you teach me a few swears in German? So I'm guessing that must be interesting. Okay, let's start with the most basic one. Scheiße means shit, but is used like the English fuck. Or like the Norwegian faen. Thanks for that, Lasse. So it's basically a go-to swear for everything. Forgot your keys? Scheiße. Dropped your food? Scheiße. Didn't buy a present for Mother's Day? Scheiße. You get the idea. Alternatively, you can use Kacke, which refers to the same fragrant substance, but is a little bit less harsh. But not really. It's just another word for it, and it really depends on your preference which one you use. Now that being said, we also use fuck, that being the English word, not a German equivalent. And we use it in the same way as you do in English, although not as often. We don't have the possibility to sprinkle it in our sentences as much. We don't say, what a fucking something, because we don't have the ing form in German, we're not that globalized. Instead, you can call something that in English you would call a fucking something, a scheiß something. So if you, let's say, stubbed your toe on a table, you would call it a Scheißtisch. This is loads of fun and can be applied to pretty much anything. You won't really see it used with verbs though, just with nouns mostly and some adjectives. Mann, es ist so scheiß warm heute. Now to all the Brits out there. If you should ever see a German doing this, please don't beat them up. We don't mean anything bad by it, we just use this gesture to order 2 more beers at a pub. To insult, we only use the middle finger, called the Stinkefinger by mothers that scold their children for it. The insult that goes with it is Wichser, wanker, which is pretty much used the same way as in English. He's such a wanker, I gave him a finger. Whoa. Another very popular rude insult is Arschloch, which translates exactly to the English asshole, but is used much more often, more like the American jerk or jackass. It's basically used every time somebody is highly irritated by somebody else. I know I have thought or said it once or twice about comments that I've gotten. We also use Arsch for pretty much the same thing, but less often. To find an equivalent to douche in German, you would probably have to go with Vollidiot, which literally means complete idiot. It's not the exact same thing as douche, but we just don't use that metaphor in German. Sack, which means balls, and kind of logically is mostly used to refer to men. And going a bit higher up the insulting letter, we have Sackgesicht, which means bald face. Be careful though, you don't use that to describe how ugly somebody is. It's more of another expression for how angry you are about somebody. To describe somebody as really ugly, you could go with Hackfresse, which is a combination of a very unpolite word for mouth, Fresse, and the word hack, which can mean to hack, but in this context probably refers to minced meat. To call somebody a bitch, you would call them a Zicke, which is an old word for a female goat. The verb that goes with it is zicken. However, fortunately, you can't use Zicke to refer to women in general. It has to be connected to a zickig incident, or at least to a certain person's personality. Now, there are a few vile swears left that I really don't want to teach you. If you really want to learn how to call somebody a son of a bee, a whore, or the C word, I'm sure you'll find some videos on YouTube by people that actually enjoy spouting them. Instead, we are going to go on to learn some insults that really aren't that insulting if not used in the appropriate context. We basically have 2 main lists here: animals and inanimate objects. Animals are normally a bit meaner since they all carry a kind of specific connotation, while objects mostly express pretty much the same thing, describing somebody as dense, incompetent, or slightly too extremely idiotic. They all normally carry a little wink with them, so you would mostly use them among friends. So they're really nice for letting somebody know they did something really stupid without being hurtful. That, of course, is not to say that you can't use these to be insulting. It all depends on the context and, of course, a lot on how you mean it and how you pronounce it. So, animals. Ratte. Just like in English, calling somebody a rat means you think they're dirty, dishonest, unethical, that kind of nice stuff. Schlange. Also a pretty common connotation, I think. You're basically saying this person is cunning, plotting, and just kind of mean and cold, uncaring to what the consequences for you might be. Vogel. An idiot. Kinda mean and normally said with a lot of emphasis on the starting F sound. Du Vogel. Also used to refer to this, which we call jemandem den Vogel zeigen. Please do not confuse this with flipping the bird. Important difference. Wurm. This is something extremely arrogant to say. Basically, it expresses somebody's inferiority to yourself. Just like a worm that you could easily squash with no effort. Fish. Well, fish can't really do much, can they? This points out a person's idiotic behavior, maybe their clumsiness, so basically just their either overall or topic-specific incompetence or idiocy. Fish is kind of regarded as a lot less insulting than the other animals, since a fish is, kind of harmless, doesn't do much. I guess that's why it is. So from its level of insult, you could kind of put it more with most of the inanimate objects. Blöde Kuh. This is a childish insult for girls or women. So you can basically use it whenever somebody behaves in a way that makes you pouty. Blöde Kuh. And then we have our objects. If I don't give specific notes on them, you can just pick whichever one you like best to call somebody dense, incompetent, or just a little stupid in general. Pflaume. Lauch. Gurke. Lutscher. This is meaner than the ones I've just listed. You're basically calling somebody a loser. Or sucker. Würstchen. Kind of similar to Wurm in its connotation, maybe a little less mean, but not much. Pfeife. Pfosten. Or to emphasize it even more, Vollpfosten. This is kind of one of my personal favorites. I like the imagery. Lappen. Flasche. This is specifically popular to point out somebody's lack of physical or athletic abilities. I'm a complete Flasche. Eimer. Flachzange. This one became pretty popular through the German dub of Scrubs. Dr. Cox's newbie was translated to Flachzange in the German version. I'm still not entirely sure if that's really a good translation, but it brings the point across and it's a nice insult to learn either way. Grünschnabel. This probably would have been more appropriate for translating newbie. Grün, green, and Schnabel, beak. So, if something is green, it's not ripe, so it's not fit to do whatever it's doing. Armleuchter. This is basically only used to avoid saying Arschloch, because it starts with A and R as well. You can do the same with Scheibenkleister, by the way, if you want to avoid saying Scheiße. Warmduscher. A lightweight. So basically somebody that isn't even man enough to take cold showers. Horst, Heini, Otto. I don't exactly know why these male first names have to carry that weight, but they are used as synonyms for idiot or slightly less or more insulting things. Penner. Penner means hobo and is derived from the verb pennen, which is a colloquial word for schlafen, so to sleep, basically referring to the fact that a hobo sleeps everywhere. Klugscheißer and Besserwisser. They both mean know-it-all, although saying Klugscheißer makes you sound a lot more irritated since it's more derogatory than Besserwisser. There is a slight difference because Besserwisser means somebody that corrects people whenever, he thinks somebody said something wrong, while a Klugscheißer just constantly spouts his wisdom without anybody asking for it. But they are interchangeable. It really doesn't matter. People will get what you're saying. And then we have one from the region I live in, Babsack. It's not only used for this, but it actually means to refer to an unhygienic man. Basically, this comes from the mental image that you think that somebody that never washes himself has his balls sticking to his leg. So we have the colloquial term Sack again, and then we have Bab, which comes from the verb babbe, which is, the way you would pronounce Bappen in my region, and Bappen is a colloquial term for kleben, which means to stick. Alright, I think that's plenty. Pick out a few you like, and enjoy insulting people while leaving them completely oblivious to the fact that you did. You don't get a random word today. I'm sure you have enough words you're eager to go and practice. Bis nächste Woche. Tschüss!